When I took clients to tour the spa resort I owned, I saw my wife, Sarah, wearing a sexy swimsuit, sitting on her young lover's lap, openly flirting. To save her face, I waited until she came home to question her sharply, but she acted as if it were completely justified. Thankfully you didn't lose it right there this time. If you had hurt Dave like before, I would never forgive you. After all, you only have everything you have today because of me, isn't that right? Our daughter, Lily, who had been sleeping, was woken by the noise. She ran out crying, wanting Mommy to hug her, but Sarah shoved her away in disgust, knocking her to the ground. Get away, you two. You and your daughter just irritate me more the longer I look at you. I picked up Lily from the floor, comforting her with a heavy heart, and decisively brought up divorce, only to be met with Sarah's laughter. Divorce? You'd be nothing without me. Isn't it better to just play your part as my kept man? Because if you leave me, you really will end up a beggar. But later, she was the one begging on the streets. When it wasn't the first time I had discovered Sarah's secret infidelity. I remember the first time I caught her cheating was at my mother Eleanor's birthday party. She said she had an urgent company matter requiring a business trip, but it turned out she was hosting a birthday party for David Miller in the room next to mine. As I passed by, I saw them through the crack in the door, feeding each other wine mouth to mouth. Growing up in a single-parent family myself, I knew how much love and care a child misses out on without both parents. So, for Lily's sake, I chose to endure the suffering again and again. I thought Sarah would regret it someday and recommit to the family. But she didn't. She remained defiant. I finally couldn't take it anymore, and for the first time, I stormed over and beat up Dave. I never expected Sarah to protect him. Not only did she hit me over the head with a wooden stick, but she also ran home and used Lily to vent her anger at me. She locked Lily in the closet and played a horror movie inside to scare her. Robert, this is what happens when you dare to hurt Dave. Remember this, every time you hurt him, I'll hurt what you hold dearest. Sarah, you're despicable. She's your daughter. No, she's an obstacle. She's the reason Dave and I can't be together. 7 years ago, Sarah was out entertaining a client, got drunk and drugged. When I arrived, someone was trying to undress her. I stepped in and saved her. When I took her to a hotel, she suddenly came onto me, grabbing me and kissing me. I tried to stop her quickly, but she called my name and said she loved me most. She was also the woman of my dreams, and that's how we ended up sleeping together. We got married later, and everything was fine until Sarah got pregnant, and David Miller returned to the country looking for her. That's when Sarah started getting colder towards me and often didn't come home. One time, she was drunk and lashed out at me, even violently hitting her 9-month pregnant belly. You little jinx, you shouldn't have come. Because of you, Dave won't touch me. I was stunned, rooted to the spot, watching the woman I cherished to the core, unable to believe it. She was hitting the baby in her womb, and the reason was that she couldn't sleep with David Miller. We started arguing, and Sarah slammed the door and left. After giving birth to Lily, she just dumped her back on me and frequently disappeared after that. Thinking back, I took a deep breath, took off my wedding ring, and placed it on the table. This suffocating and broken marriage needed to end. Just then, Sarah came back. Seeing me on the sofa, her eyes were full of a cold glare. She walked over calmly, looking down on me condescendingly. You saw everything at the spa, didn't you? Good thing you didn't go crazy right there this time. If you had hurt Dave like before, I would never forgive you. Just letting you know, Dave is moving in tomorrow because his place is being renovated. My fists clenched tight, an inferno inside burning away my reason. Sarah, let's get a divorce. I'll make it happen for you and David Miller. I stood up and handed the divorce papers to Sarah, who was stunned for a long moment. Before this, I genuinely still held a sliver of hope for her. But as soon as she came back, she announced that David Miller would be moving in. That completely extinguished any hope I shouldn't have held on to. What are you planning to do now, you loser? Divorce? What's the difference between you leaving me and killing yourself? With that, Sarah took the divorce papers and tore them to shreds. I looked at her, confused. Wasn't this what she always wanted? I thought she might do it for Lily's sake, but then she said, I used to push you for a divorce, and you always refused. Now, As soon as you hear I'm bringing Dave home, you're suddenly in a hurry to get it done. We can talk about divorce later. Dave is coming tomorrow and won't have anyone to take care of him. You can do it. After all, that's pretty much all you're good for. I couldn't control my rage any longer. I punched the glass top of the coffee table, shattering it with a deafening crash. How could anyone be as shameless as Sarah, cheating openly before the divorce is even finalized, and bringing her young lover home to carry on while our daughter is still in the house? She stomped my heart into pieces, leaving me unable to love, only to hate even more. Now I wished I could reach out and strangle her. Are you crazy, you loser? What are you doing? Sarah slapped me across the face. Her freshly done nails scratched my cheek, leaving a cut that wasn't deep, but bled. All you ever do is throw tantrums. What else are you capable of? I even let you manage my company and gave you respect and position. What more do you want? Hearing that, my anger flared even more. She completely neglected the company, forcing me to take charge, only to turn around and misuse company funds to secretly finance David Miller's entrepreneurial venture. That led to severe cash flow problems and almost bankrupted the company. It was my connections that saved it. Who would want this kind of respectable position? If it weren't for her, with my natural business acumen, I would have built my own empire long ago. Why would I willingly stay at a small company like this? Perhaps our arguing and the violent crashing sounds woke Lily, who was still sleeping. She came out of her room. Seeing Sarah, whom she hadn't seen in a long time, Lily missed her mother and craved her love even more. For the first time, she gathered her courage and ran towards Sarah. "Mommy, you're here. Hug!" Before she could even reach Sarah, she was shoved away in disgust. "Get away, you two. You and your daughter just irritate me more the longer I look at you." Lily fell to the ground from the push but didn't dare to cry, her eyes filled with tears of hurt. She was only 6, and had always lacked a mother's love. Even though her own birth mother was alive, she couldn't call her mommy. One time, she was bullied at preschool by bigger classmates. They made fun of her, saying she was some kind of stray who didn't have a mother. She came home crying and asked me, "Daddy, where's my mommy? Why doesn't mommy come home?" Lily misses her so much. For Lily's sake, I compromised again and again, going out to find Sarah and try to bring her back, but she had long considered David Miller's place her home and refused to return. I picked Lily up from the floor. My heart felt like it was being squeezed tight, aching so much that even breathing hurt. "Sarah, from now on, Lily and I won't bother you anymore. Just sign the papers." I knew she would tear up the divorce papers, so I had already prepared another copy. "I'm not making a scene. If you don't sign, you are." Sarah glared at me, her eyes wide. Why? Anger. "Don't play games with me. I'm not stupid. If you wanted a divorce, you would have done it a long time ago. If you waste my time any longer, I won't hesitate to bring Dave to live at your mom's place." After taking a few steps, she turned back and stared at us as if we were beggars. "Oh, by the way, I remember your mother Eleanor has heart problems, right? What if, just maybe, she happened to see Dave and me being affectionate? Would it be enough to give her a heart attack?" I snapped my head towards Sarah, who looked utterly triumphant, beaming with delight. It wasn't until this moment that I realized how utterly shameless and vicious Sarah was to the core. I thought loving her and marrying her would be the source of happiness, but I never expected it to be an abyss. Lily clung to me, no longer able to hold back her tears. "Daddy, I'm sorry. Have Grandma and I been a burden to you?" "No, Lily. Don't ever blame yourself. This really isn't about you two." After I got Lily to sleep, I received a call from my mother Eleanor. "Robert, what's going on with you and Sarah? Mom's telling you, never get into fights with your wife. You need to give her more leeway. It's not easy for her to have children for you, you know. Got it?" Just as I was about to tell Eleanor about the divorce from Sarah, I heard her having a violent coughing fit. I abruptly swallowed the words back. Sigh, my health is getting worse and worse. Looks like I'll be joining your father soon. After exchanging pleasantries with Eleanor, I hung up the phone, went out onto the balcony, and smoked cigarettes all night. The next day, David Miller showed up. When I opened the door, I saw him wearing the custom-made suit from my brand. "Morning, Robert." Following my gaze to his own suit, David Miller grinned even wider. "Robert, you have such good taste. This suit is really nice. I just mentioned it in passing, and Sarah gave it to me." Facing his taunt, I didn't hide my displeasure. When it W. as finished, I decided it didn't look good and was going to throw it away. I guess he picked it up. "Thanks." David Miller's smile slowly vanished, replaced by a nasty, vicious look. "But there's one thing you can't bring yourself to throw away, is there? That's Sarah. Since I came back, for 7 whole years, we've pretty much lived in bed together. She's almost worn out from it." From David Miller's tone, he was just playing with Sarah's feelings. If he hadn't dumped her, he definitely had another motive, and that was personal gain. As I was about to retort, Sarah, wearing a sexy nightgown, oblivious to my presence, rushed into David Miller's arms. "Dave, you're here." They started whispering endearments to each other. I thought I would be furious, but I wasn't. My heart was perfectly calm. After dropping Lily off at preschool, I went back to the company for work. But my eye had been twitching all day, and I felt agitated. Not long after, I received a call from the hospital saying Lily had been scalded by hot water. For when I rushed to the hospital, Lily's legs were wrapped in bandages. The burn area was extensive. I was thunderstruck, crying out in pain and shock. She had been perfectly fine when we left the house. Why did this happen? My hands trembled as I reached out to touch her injury, but I pulled them back, afraid of hurting her more. My eyes were bloodshot red, and I clenched my fists tightly. To find out what happened, I checked the surveillance footage at home. Lily gets home from preschool at 4:30 p.m. What happened in the hours she was home that led to her being scalded by hot water? As soon as I saw the footage, an unprecedented rage surged through me. It turned out David Miller had told her to go to the kitchen and boil hot water to make him noodles. He just sat in the living room waiting to be served. Lily was only 6 years old, and he made a 6-year-old child wait on him. And Sarah didn't stop him. She even took David Miller's side. When Lily brought him a plate of the freshly made noodles, David Miller was still playing games. He said Lily was disturbing him and violently hit her hand, sending the entire plate of hot noodles spilling onto Lily's legs. He just cursed at her angrily, then left without a second thought, leaving Lily lying on the floor, crying in pain. It was a kind neighbor who found her and rushed her to the hospital for immediate medical treatment. After learning the truth, I hired a caregiver to look after Lily and went straight home. I didn't expect to walk in on Sarah and Dave. I rushed forward and kicked David Miller, who was in the process of taking off his pants. I slapped Sarah across the face and grabbed her by the collar. I thought every mother in the world loved their child, but now I realize that's not true. How vicious can you be to do something like this? Sarah shrieked, "You lunatic. Going crazy in the middle of the night. Don't think you can act this reckless just because I've been patient with you." She glanced at David Miller, who was on the ground, her eyes full of heartache. Then she turned back to me, blazing fury in her eyes, and roared, "You don't need to bring up divorce now. I don't want you anymore." I laughed, a loud, bitter laugh, but inside, my heart was filled with bitterness. If I had known I would pay such a price, I would have divorced Sarah that day, no matter what. "Then please, I'm begging you, let's just get this over with. Don't worry. You'll see the divorce papers at the company tomorrow. I don't want any of your meager assets, and you won't get a cent of what's mine. The consequences of messing with me are more than you can handle." I soon found out what those consequences were. The next day, I returned to the company. My assistant was waiting for me at the company entrance. He looked very anxious. As soon as he saw me, he rushed over. "Mr. Chen, it's bad news. Madam has returned to the company with a man. She's taken over your office, claiming the company belongs to the Su family, not the Chen family, and she even produced authorization documents to prove it." I had anticipated Sarah doing this, so I wasn't angry at all when my assistant told me. When I returned to the company, Sarah was in the conference room with the shareholders, discussing my removal. "Everyone, I've made it clear. From this moment on, I will be taking charge again. Mr. David Miller, standing behind me, will be the vice president. We will manage the company together." As soon as she finished speaking, everyone was stunned. Some shareholders were unconvinced by the idea of them managing the company. After all, my capabilities were undeniable, and the company had only reached its current success because of me. But Sarah, ignoring the company's development and the shareholders' interests, had rashly returned and was appointing a complete stranger to manage the company. Miss Sue, it's fine if you want to manage, but shouldn't you reconsider the vice president position? After all, Mr. Chen. Shut up. I don't need anyone telling me what to do. If you don't like it, you can get out with Robert. Sarah started threatening everyone. David Miller wrapped an arm around Sarah and leaned down to kiss her. Way to go, Sarah, so impressive. Flattered by David Miller's praise, Sarah stood on her tiptoes and deepened the kiss. Seeing their shameless display, everyone turned away, unable to watch. But inwardly, they were all protesting. When I walked into the conference room, I saw them locked in a passionate kiss. Seeing me enter, Sarah released David Miller and haughtily met my gaze. You're here. Sign this then. Sarah threw the divorce papers she had prepared in my face. The agreement clearly states that I don't want any of your assets, Robert, because you don't have anything worth taking anyway. I'm only leaving you the house you're living in now. You won't get anything else. As she finished speaking, her face was led with contempt for me. She was so arrogant, convinced that everything I had today was thanks to her. Sign it. You can have Lily too. I'll have my own children in the future. As Sarah said this, her eyes were fixed on David Miller. After gazing affectionately at him, she smiled softly. Don't worry, Sarah, I'll definitely have lots of children with you. Machem, I'll cherish your children twice as much. I suddenly thought of Lily, still lying in the hospital bed, wrapped in bandages. Knowing she had a mother like Sarah, I felt a chill in my heart. I took the pen. Sarah, you will regret everything you've done today. How laughable. The word regret is not in my vocabulary, Sarah. She said it with such conviction, so heartlessly. At this point, there was nothing left to say between us. I gripped the pen and signed my name where it belonged. Sarah, afraid I might change my mind, snatched the divorce papers and handed them to her lawyer. Take these back and keep them safe. Once she had arranged everything, David Miller laughed and picked Sarah up. Baby, we can finally be together openly, and we can go get married now. Everything I did for you was worth it. The two of them started kissing again, completely oblivious to everyone else. David Miller looked at me and said deliberately, Sarah, I've learned a few new moves recently. We can try them tonight when we get home. Sarah's face flushed red. She giggled and playfully hit his chest, but she wouldn't look at me, darting her eyes away. David Miller, however, walked right up to me, lit a cigarette, took a drag, and blew smoke in my face. How's your daughter doing? Ah, children have such delicate skin, the poor thing. Robert, if you don't have the money for medical care, just tell me. I'll be sure to give you and your daughter a handout. As soon as he finished, Sarah, standing beside him, was listening in confusion. Before she could ask, I couldn't take it anymore and punched the bastard in the face. Instantly, chaos erupted in the conference room. No one dared to step forward and separate David Miller and me. Sarah, trying to protect him, grabbed the ashtray and threw it at my head. Get off him. Don't hurt Dave. Where are the security guards? What are you waiting for? Get in here quickly and drag this lunatic out. After shouting, Sarah pushed me away and shielded David Miller behind her. She raised her hand to hit me again, but I forcefully slapped her hand away. Just then, several security guards entered from outside, looking like they were waiting for a command before taking action. Sarah and David Miller grew bolder. David Miller pointed at me and ordered the security guards. Carry this loser out for me. Do you know what carry out means? Carrying him out means his feet won't touch the ground. You'll have to break his legs to make sure that happens. But I calmly sat back down, unfazed by the danger. My assistant came over and checked my injury. The security guards who had been ordered, however, didn't move a muscle, acting as if David Miller wasn't even there. Hey, are you deaf? I told you what to do, get moving. 5 minutes passed, and the security guards still stood there, unmoved, while some of the shareholders secretly smirked at Sarah and David Miller. Their faces grew redder and redder, flushed with anger. Stop yelling. They won't listen to you. Bullshit. Who do you think you are? Just a down-and-out beggar. Oh, really? So you like being a beggar? Alright then, I've decided you'll be begging on the streets from now on. David Miller scoffed, but Sarah panicked. Did Robert bribe you? How much could he give you? Don't make me laugh. I'll give you more. The security guards continued to ignore them, but I had no more patience to deal with them. After all, Lily was still lying in the hospital. Enough. They won't listen to you. Because I'm the owner of this company. The name is Chen, not Sue. Understand? 7. Sarah jumped up, wanting to confront me, but the security guards moved then, quickly blocking her, not letting her get near me. I looked at Sarah, full of bluster, and kindly decided to explain. Years ago, because she repeatedly misused company funds to help David Miller, she plunged the company into crisis, almost to the point of bankruptcy. I was the one who scraped together funds from friends, but their only condition was that the company had to change ownership. They trusted me, not Sarah, fearing her mismanagement and potential abuse of power for personal gain in the future. When I took the transfer agreement to Sarah back then, she was in such a hurry to see David Miller that she didn't even listen to me. She just took the pen and signed the transfer agreement. All these years, the reason I turned a blind eye to her antics wasn't just because I pampered her, but mostly for Lily's sake. But now they had crossed a line by hurting my daughter. I wouldn't tolerate it anymore. After hearing what I said, the shareholders immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Even their gazes towards me were respectful. But Sarah and David Miller panicked. What? That's impossible. You dared to trick me into signing without my permission. Miss Sue, perhaps you'd like to go to prison? After all, I still have the evidence of your embezzlement. I cut off Sarah's yelling, looking at her mockingly. What did you just call me? Miss Sue, of course. Don't forget we just signed the divorce papers. Sarah was used to me doing whatever she said. Seeing me stop being lenient for the first time made her feel uneasy. But I had run out of patience. Someone, break one of David Miller's legs, then carry him out and throw him out. This is what he ordered. David Miller's eyes widened instantly. He tried to run, but his path was blocked. Sarah grabbed my arm. Robert, you wouldn't dare? I shook her off. Why wouldn't I dare? He dared to scald my daughter, so I dared to break his leg. Sarah froze when she heard that David Miller had scalded Lily. Impossible. Dave isn't that cruel. She turned her head towards David Miller, who looked uneasy and wouldn't look at her. Sarah, stop pretending you care about Lily in front of me. You don't deserve to be a mother. If you hadn't brought this bastard home, Lily wouldn't have been hurt. Do it. If he's seriously injured, I have enough money to cover the compensation. In an instant, David Miller's screams echoed through the conference room. Thinking of Lily's cries when he deliberately scalded her, my hatred intensified. What I hated even more was that the despicable couple hadn't even tried to help her. David Miller had a leg broken and was thrown out of the company gates. Sarah was also escorted out. Once I stopped indulging her, she was nothing. After sorting everything out, I rushed to the hospital immediately. The doctor said Lily was awake. As soon as I arrived at the hospital, I saw Lily's teacher, Emily Lou, taking care of her. She had personally made chicken soup and was feeding Lily spoonful by spoonful. The sight deeply moved me. Even a complete stranger with no blood relation knew how to care for Lily, while her own birth mother was so cold. If I had known Sarah was so vicious, I would have raised Lily on my own. A mother like that is better off gone. When I walked in, Lily smiled brightly as soon as she saw me. It seemed she liked her teacher. Daddy, you're here. Yes, sweetie. Do your legs still hurt? No, it doesn't hurt anymore. Don't be sad, Daddy. I swallowed my sadness. For Lily to be so sensible at such a young age, was it a blessing or a misfortune? Mr. Chen, you probably haven't eaten yet, have you? I brought an extra portion. You should eat it while it's hot. Emily Lou opened the lunchbox and poured out a bowl of chicken soup, along with some simple dishes. It's just a simple meal. I hope you don't mind, Mr. Chen. I quickly waved my hand. Not at all, I can't thank you enough. I took the utensils, sat next to Lily, and ate the best home-cooked meal I'd ever had. Just then, an elderly person returned to the room, looked our way, and said enviously, "What a happy family of 3." I realized then that my face, which hadn't smiled in a long time, was full of smiles. I was so happy I forgot to tell the elderly person that we weren't a family. Emily Lou blushed, and Lily clapped happily. By the time I realized, the elderly person was already lying in bed, resting. I quickly apologized to Emily Lou, but Lily suddenly spoke up. "Daddy, I like Ms. Lou. You're divorced from Mommy anyway, so can you date Ms. Lou and ask her to be my mommy?" As soon as Lily finished speaking, Emily Lou's face turned even redder. "Ms. Lou, please don't mind her. She's just a child, she doesn't know what she's saying." Emily Lou, however, looked a little crestfallen. I didn't know what to do. I could tell Emily Lou liked me, but I had just come out of a failed marriage and had Lily with me. I was afraid I wasn't good enough for her. So, I remained silent. But there was one more thing I needed to do: sell all my properties immediately. This was to prevent Sarah from coming back to pester me if she ran out of money. I immediately called my assistant and told him to liquidate all the properties under my name. My assistant worked very efficiently and got it done in just a few days. I took Lily and moved somewhere else. I bought a new villa and brought my mother Eleanor to live with us. She knew about Sarah and me, but she just blamed herself, thinking she had been a burden to me. I kept telling her it wasn't her fault, that if someone wants to cheat, nothing can stop them. A few more days passed. Just as I arrived at the company entrance, Sarah blocked my path. "Robert, why did you sell all the properties? You left me nowhere to go." Sarah had lost her former polished look. Her face was tired, her hair lacked luster, and one side of her face was still swollen and red. This W. As the consequence of not being financially supported anymore. I replied with a cold smile. "I don't need to tell an outsider how I handle my properties." I said outsider loudly, making sure she understood. We were already divorced. Faced with my coldness, Sarah froze for a moment, then her eyes filled with tears. "Robert, I was wrong, Robert. David Miller is a complete scumbag, a con artist. He drugged me to make money, put me in bed and had me used by several disgusting men. When I woke up, I went to confront him, but I didn't expect him to have already found a new lover, taken the last of my money, and kicked me out too. Robert, I have nowhere to go now. Please help me." I quickly lifted my arm and shook off her hand that was grabbing my sleeve. "No, you can't. I'm telling you, give up on that completely. Whatever happens to you from now on has nothing to do with us. If you think you were conned, go to the police. Coming to me is useless. No, I have no other options but to come to you. You loved me for so long, you can't just let go all of a sudden. I know you're still angry with me, so I'm apologizing now." After speaking, Sarah grabbed my waist and cried harder and harder. Now she finally remembers how deeply I once loved her, and remembers the good things I did. But it was too late. Her actions, the way she hurt me and Lily, were still etched in my memory. Without thinking, I forcefully pulled her off me, holding her shoulders to stop her from clinging to me. "Sarah, get away from me. You disgust me. This is all your own doing. You said the word regret isn't in your vocabulary, remember? If I ever dared to forgive her, I deserve to die a miserable death. I'll say this one last time. We are divorced. Don't cling to me like a beggar anymore." She had once yelled those very words at me. Now, I was giving them back to her. Sarah stood frozen on the ground, watching my back, weeping uncontrollably. I walked away so resolutely, so merciless. Sly. Even hearing Sarah's miserable cries, I never looked back. Back in my office, the doctor sent me a message. He said Lily's legs were healing, but there would be scars. Thinking about this, my anger flared even more. To lay a hand on a child so young, David Miller was a monster. I picked up my phone and made a call. The truth was, I knew some people with connections. I was well connected. In just a few days, I received an update. David Miller had been put in a sack and taken somewhere remote out of town, and his other leg had been broken. But immediately after, it was also discovered that David Miller had harmed others before. He had relied on Sarah to cover for him, but now that she was ruined too, his enemies came looking for him and gave him another severe beating. The people he had wronged reported his crimes to the police. When the police went to arrest him, he was in the middle of a fight with Sarah. Sarah, however, thought I had helped her. So she dressed herself up nicely and waited for me to come home by the front door. 10 before she could run towards me, she saw Emily Lou walk out from behind me. Emily Lou and I had officially started dating. Originally, I was too scared to ask her out, but she convinced me, saying she didn't mind that I was divorced at all. I was moved by her kindness, grace, and understanding nature. So last night, I said yes. When Sarah saw Emily Lou, she saw her gaze fixed on me with an infatuated look. Sarah's face turned pale. She knew exactly what that kind of gaze meant. A sudden wave of insecurity washed over her. She was afraid of other women being in my life, and even more afraid that the man who had always doted on her had fallen for someone else. "Robert, are you dating?" I was afraid Sarah might suddenly go crazy and harm Emily Lou, so I told Emily to go back inside. But Sarah blocked her path, not letting her leave. "You shameless mistress, daring to seduce my husband. I'll beat you to death." Sarah rushed forward. For her hand could reach Emily Lou, I backhanded her face. "Who are you calling a mistress, Miss Sue? If you keep slandering Emily, I'll release all your shameful deeds and photos to the media, letting the whole world know how you cheated before we were even divorced." I didn't expect that after getting divorced, she would still not know her place. "Emily, don't listen to her. Don't listen to what this lunatic is saying." A gust of wind came and ruffled Emily Lou's long hair. I raised my hand and gently smoothed her messy hair. This scene was a painful sight for Sarah. "Liars, you're all liars. You said you would only love me forever, did you forget?" I couldn't help but let out a sarcastic laugh. "Miss Sue, you cheated, so don't expect others to be eternally loyal to you, all right? It's disgusting." Sarah staggered, almost losing her balance and falling. She looked at me, still not giving up, making a desperate last effort. She walked over and grabbed my hand. "Robert, isn't this what you want? I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you now." As she spoke, she lifted her head, trying to kiss me, and started trying to take off her clothes. I felt like throwing up. I slapped her hand away. "Damn it, get away. You're a worn-out piece of trash used by so many men. You don't mind being dirty, but I do. If you want to find a man, go look somewhere else." If she had come here wanting to see Lily, with even a shred of guilt, I might not have abandoned her, for Lily's sake, as she is Lily's birth mother. But she didn't. She was just as selfish and self-serving as always, not saying a single word about Lily. Sarah fell to the ground, letting out cries of deep regret. "You're really not going to forgive me? If you don't forgive me, I'll end up on the streets. Isn't that great? That's exactly what you wanted, remember? Only the person is different now. It's you, not me." I looked down at Sarah condescendingly, mocking her mercilessly. My words choked her. She couldn't find the words to express her remorse. I turned and went inside with Emily Lou, giving instructions to the security guards at the door. "Don't let this person in to bother me again." But Sarah refused to leave, crying and begging for me to come out. Finally, the security guards had to throw her out. From that day on, my world became quiet. I returned to my own life. When I wasn't working, I would take Lily and Emily Lou abroad for a break. Eleanor didn't want to go, saying she was old and just wanted to retire to the countryside, plant a small plot of land, and chat with neighbors over home-cooked meals. 3 years later, I was passing a flower shop after work. It was Valentine's Day, and I bought a bouquet of roses to take home. Suddenly, a commotion broke out behind me. A beggar had stolen food and was being chased and beaten. As the beggar ran past me, I realized it was Sarah. I learned that she had contracted HIV/AIDS. No one would hire her, and with no source of income, she had to steal to feed herself. I didn't stop. I turned and got into my Rolls-Royce and told the driver to go. Sarah suddenly turned back, thinking she would see the person she had been waiting for so long. But when she turned, it was empty. There was nothing there. She was finally genuinely regretting it.